Students who are joining, we are still waiting for everybody to get on board here. You'll notice probably that you're only seeing the 9 of us. We have our student panelists and myself and John are from the admission office, and then our president, Zach Massetti. Again, we'll start here in just a few seconds. Oh, and I did want to say, attendees, if you wish, we will be using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. If you would like to pose any questions throughout the panel today or now, any comments you want to make, feel free to utilize that. We got about 2 minutes to be officially at 3:30.
Well, since we're going to break the silence, how's the weather up in Ripon? We got 4 inches down in Aurora, Illinois today.
4 inches of what? Rain or snow?
No.
For real?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So am I.
A little snow over here. It's kind of melting now, but my dad definitely tried to throw a snowball at me this morning. Not feeling it.
Right way to do it. It's going to be 60 tomorrow, so by tomorrow it'll be all done.
I'm just typing a response. Someone asked about being muted, and I'm going to answer that to everybody that yes, you are all muted as attendees when you come in, and that's just to kind of keep the conversation, able to manage that with our panelists. Again, using the Q&A would be the great way to communicate with us, and we'll get those questions that you have answered. Well, it is 3:30. Let me just look here once again at our participants. We're getting them in there. So hopefully they will still continue to join, but I want to keep us on time. So welcome to all of you out there in our virtual world. My name is Jill Cardinal. I'm an admission counselor as well as the campus event coordinator. And I'm really pleased that you're joining us today along with our panelists. I would like to start off this afternoon with our president. He is the 13th president of Ripon College, Zach Massetti, and I will let him talk a little bit and introduce yourself.
Great. Thanks, Jill, and welcome everybody. We're really glad you're here. First off, congratulations to all of you on being accepted at Ripon. I know many of you have already decided to come, but there are probably some of you on today who haven't yet decided to go. But congratulations. It's a big achievement to be admitted, and we're excited that you're coming in the fall, and that you're considering coming in the fall. Many of you I've exchanged emails with or met in person, or perhaps you got a letter from me at some point in time. And so I'm talking to you today actually from the president's house on 1 Merriman Lane, and I just took a walk around campus, and of course campus is really quiet right now, and we can talk a little bit about that. I'm sure you'll have questions for our student panelists about both what goes on here when we're here, and also what's been going on the last month as we've gone online. You know, the stuff I love the most about Ripon, unfortunately, are the things that some of which we can't do right now. Usually this time of year, I'm hosting dinners at 1 Merriman Lane at the president's house, or getting ready for some of the programs at the end of the year that we do for students, but they have transitioned pretty well virtually, and so I'm sure again they'll tell you all about that in this great student panel. So we are planning to be back here in the fall with you all. Right now our faculty are they're really preparing for 3 possible different scenarios. The first is the one I think we're all hoping for, and that's that we'll be back in full in August on campus in the fall. But we're preparing to be maybe back in a hybrid model, maybe back partially online and partially full-time on campus, or if the health situation is as such, we'll be fully online. The most important thing, obviously, for us, for our students, for our faculty, staff, is that everybody's safe and healthy, and that's always going to take a priority in terms of whatever decision is made about coming back to campus in the fall. But boy, we sure hope that you'll all be back here in the fall, because fall in many ways is the nicest time to be on Ripon's campus. It's the most beautiful, the weather's great, there are fall sports, there are activities as people sort of get ready as the school year begins. It's really a special time on campus. So we're all very hopeful that everything will be back in August. You know, as Jill said, I'm the president. I'm also a professor of politics and government. I'm in my 8th year at Ripon, and I absolutely love it here. I love the students who I get to work with and know. I love my faculty and staff colleagues and all the good things that we've done over the past few years and will continue to do. And I really hope that you all will get to join in that Ripon tradition. We've been around for 168 years, so that's a long time. And there are a lot of great traditions that come with the college. And there are, of course, I'm sure there are a few of you on the line who have parents or cousins or aunts and uncles or brothers and sisters who went to Ripon. It's one of the great things about the college is this fabulous tradition, family traditions that we have through generations of people that come here. So again, congratulations to all of you. I'm going to stay on the panel and listen because I really want to hear what the responses are to students, and I'm sort of going to monitor them to make sure, no, I'm not going to monitor them to make sure they say the right thing, because they should say whatever they want. They should be honest to you. But I am going to stay on the panel because I want to listen and hear what your questions are and how the students respond to them. But congrats again. Hope everybody is safe and healthy, and that you'll get to enjoy a little bit of the end of your senior year of high school as well, which is also a special time. So thanks for being here today. And then Jill, I guess I kick it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So as I said before, we are going to have our 6 student panelists introduce themselves here in a second. And again, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to ask questions. John Ingeman will be reading those and moderating those questions. Thank you, John. But please do use that. We want to hear what's on your mind. Anything is open to ask. So this is why we do this, so you get honest feedback from students who are currently on campus. And I think the students you have, we've got a good mix of majors, athletes, what they're involved in, majors, and et cetera, and where they live. So that's a really good way to kind of see what it's like for students who may be just like you. I do have some prizes we'll hand out a little bit later on. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Adam. I'll start with you. If you'd like to introduce yourself, give a quick bio.
All right, thanks, Jill. So my name is Adam Ronsky. I'm a current senior biology major and chemistry minor from Red Wing, Minnesota originally. On campus, I'm president of our Outdoors Club, president of our Biology Honor Society, and vice president of the Sigma Chi fraternity. During my 4 years, I've also been a sustainability fellow at the college, and I currently work also as a drop-in tutor.
Great. And let's go to Bailey.
So hi, I'm Bailey. I'm a current sophomore on campus this year studying studio art and art history and museum studies. I'm on the women's soccer team too, which takes up a bunch of my time in the fall, which is also a great time to be on campus, like we said earlier. I'm also in Alpha Chi Omega, which is one of our sororities on campus, and I'm the VP membership programming in that group, which means I get to play in a bunch of events. And I'm also in Love Your Melon, which is one of our clubs on campus.
Great. Anisha.
Guys, I'm Anisha Wiseman. I'm a current sophomore here at Ripon College, biology major. I'm from Hazel Crest, Illinois, so about like 35 minutes from Chicago. I'm the newly elected president of Black Student Union on campus, BSU for short. I'm a member of Alpha Delta Pi sorority. Work as a student ambassador, as well as these fine people here. And I'm also a resident assistant, and I am on the women's volleyball team here at Ripon as well.
If you're not getting the gist yet, these kids are very busy. Tyler?
Hi, I'm Tyler. I'm a junior on campus. I'm a double major in finance and economics and a minor in politics and government. I was going to be a triple major, but turns out I was one class short. I also play baseball on campus, so that keeps me really busy in the spring, except this year, unfortunate circumstances. And I'm also part of the Theta Chi fraternity.
Great. And Caleb?
Hi, my name's Caleb. I am a current sophomore at Ripon. I am a music major with a double minor in English and secondary education. I'm relatively involved on campus. I am also part of Theta Chi fraternity. I am the scholarship chair, brotherhood chair, and alumni relations. And then I'm in Mu Phi Epsilon, which is the Music Honors Society, and the English Honors Society as well.
And last but not least, Molly.
Hi, I'm Molly Wagner. I'm a junior on campus. I am majoring in elementary education, and then I minor in studio art. And then I also attend the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh to get certified in special education. I am a part of the Student Education Association on campus. I'm the vice president of that. And then also am a student ambassador.
Wonderful. So I don't see questions yet, so I'm going to start throwing some out, right? Since you all are so busy with athletics, clubs, extracurricular things, and of course your studies, tell the students are listening maybe how you manage your time. I'm sorry, I need to ask someone, right? Okay, Adam, I'll start with you. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things I really quickly discovered at Ripon is that time management is basically a skill that you need to thrive and succeed at college. So obviously, you know, things like having a calendar and having a regular schedule help. But I think also being involved in a lot of those activities has actually really helped me, because it gives me some set aside time to relax, whether it's, you know, going to one of our sporting events, getting out hiking with Outdoors Club. It gives me some time to not focus on school and just, you know, de-stress a little bit. But also I've found that, you know, having all those things going on, it really helps me to focus and just keep track of everything and really prioritize my work. So I think being involved is a really beneficial thing for any student.
Great, thank you. John, I see some questions coming through. I'm going to unmute. Let's see ones. Can you unmute yourself?
Yep.
There you go. There you go.
I'm here. Yeah, so our first question is, I'd appreciate hearing your thoughts about your professors at Ripon. So let's start with Molly, because she's right in the middle of my screen, squares, right? And tell us about your relationship with your professors on campus.
Yeah, I would say you'll get a really unique relationship with all of your professors here at Ripon. They're really here to want to get to know you. They're here to help you in any way you can. You're not just a number here, you're a person, and they really strive on that. Yeah, just they'll really get to know you and all of that kind of stuff, yeah.
Hey, Molly, could I just ask as to follow up on that? Who's your favorite professor and why? Maybe that's another way to sort of illustrate that.
I would say my favorite professor is Professor Eastman in the education department. He really wants you to learn and do great things in life. So I think he really strives on letting you do that and letting your opinion, especially in education when there could be a lot of different opinions, and do that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do any other one of you want to talk about your favorite professor or a cool experience you've had with a professor on campus?
I could. So my freshman year, I took a philosophy course, which was taught by Stephen Miller. And my freshman year, I didn't have a car on campus and I had a family emergency. And Professor Miller offered me his car because he knew that it would be beneficial for me to actually get home during that family emergency. So not only are your professors focusing on your academic life, but they worry about you as a person, and they will try to ensure that you have the necessary things to succeed, whether it's with your academics or with your personal life.
Great. Before we go on, anyone else want to add a little thing about their professors at all? Okay, Anisha, do you want to say something?
Sure. Well, my favorite professor is Dr. Khan in the biology department. I really fell in love with vertebrate zoology I'm a pre-med focused, just have to put that out there. I don't like dealing with like animals or anything like that, but the class was just so amazing because she just like, that's like her passion. And so she taught it with such enthusiasm and excitement that it just made me want to like be enthusiastic and excited with her. And I mean, the opportunity that I did in lab, like dissecting a dogfish shark or putting together cow bones, like it's just things I never thought I would have done. And it really has prepared me, and that class specifically taught me how to be a better student and study, because my study method that I did in high school was just, it needed to be tweaked a little bit. And so that class definitely taught me, you know, how to actually have better time management and how to stay on track. So definitely Dr. Khan is a great professor.
Great.
Hey, Anisha, did you go ever and check bluebirds out on the prairie with Dr. Khan?
Well, I did not go check bluebirds out with her, but we went on a bird like thing, and we went to the prairie and we just looked around and found different birds. Like I saw a crane. I didn't even know there were cranes in Wisconsin. I was so shocked. So yeah, she loves birds. Mika actually got to do that fellowship with her, so that was really cool to see.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, next question, John.
Yeah, our next question, we'll go to Bailey for this one because she's been waiting patiently over there. What is your favorite part of being a Ripon student? So a lot of you can go with that one.
I think just because we're a 4-year live-on campus, so everybody's always around. So the kind of community aspect was something I never had in high school. Even with my professors, like we had 25, 30 kids in a class. So you had like your one core group of maybe like 4 or 5 people, and that was the only people you talked to in the entire high school. But here you kind of get to know everybody, which is really cool. So I think that's probably my favorite part, just the community aspect.
Say, Tyler, what about you? What's your favorite part?
You know, Bailey hit it right on the head. My favorite part is pretty much the environment. Coming in my freshman year, I come from a high school of about 2,000 kids. So my graduating class is just smaller than the size of Ripon College in general. So coming on, I knew a lot of people within the first week of being on campus. And that ties a lot into your freshman week, is that you go through a bunch of orientation stuff, you know, a lot about your freshman class. Being in sports especially, you get to know a lot of not only your teammates, but people in other sports, and kind of seeing the same familiar faces every day is what keeps me grinding through the school year.
Awesome.
Hey, Bailey and Tyler, if you could just sort of follow up on this, like since Bailey, you play soccer, Tyler, you've played baseball, what sort of expand on that experience?
I think for me, because I didn't know anybody at Ripon when I started, and because soccer is like one of the fall sports, we get to come in about 2 weeks earlier than everybody else, so I had that core group right away, which really helped me too, being an art major, because we're kind of a small group and we don't really branch out a whole lot, so having that extra kind of subgroup of people to talk with was really helpful for me, other than just being able to play the sport too.
Yeah, I'd say for me, since baseball is a spring sport, we don't have the luxury of coming in 2 weeks early. But 2 weeks into the school year, we actually start up our fall season. So that's when you really get to know everybody, the whole classes, seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen. Outside of pretty much practice, we do a lot of lifting together. We hang out a lot together. So especially when we're not in season, so especially during the fall, we play a lot of basketball together because we actually think we're good at basketball when we're really not. So that's how we kind of bond there.
Awesome. So we'll go to our next question. How many hours of class do students typically have each week? And then how much homework do you guys have outside of class? So let's start with Adam, Mr. Senior.
Oh,
He's
can't
broken.
hear you, Adam.
That's my bad, sorry. I think a lot of it depends on what classes and what major you're in, and also what year of school you're in. So my freshman year, you know, I would probably spend, I don't know, an hour a night at most on homework. Now, you know, on Sunday, when I have a lot of, senior seminar stuff to work on. I might spend 5 or 6 hours because I like to leave it to the last minute, which is very inadvisable. Don't do that. Be a better student than me. In terms of actual in-class time, though, most of our courses, you either meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 50 minutes or Tuesday, Thursday for a bit longer. So most of your classes, you can expect to be in class probably 3 or 4 hours per week for that course. If you're in a science class that has labs, that can add on a couple extra hours, but you're probably never going to be spending more than 5 or 6 hours in class for any one class in a week.
Yeah. Anybody else have an answer for that question? Yeah. Pretty par for the course overall.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Caleb this question to start out, being that you're a sophomore right now. What did you struggle with most as an incoming freshman?
So I came to Ripon as a first-generation student, which means neither of my parents went to a four-year college. And there are support systems available here at Ripon for first-generation students. But I think the hardest part is getting that transition from all of a sudden you're in one building to now you're in 5 different buildings. And time management is a huge issue that a lot of first-year students have, simply because you are alone. And not to say that you're alone, but you don't have your parents writing you to tell you get this done. So one of the ways that I was able to do that was I had a planner, and I worked closely with the Student Support Services office to make sure that I stayed on track.
Yeah. What other?
Yeah, I'll go a little bit off of what Caleb said. Was I think the hardest part for me was leaving home, because you've been home for 18 years and then you're kind of going to a new place all by yourself. So I think the hardest part was that, but you'll make a lot of friends and you'll get to know a lot of people, especially being at Ripon, with it being such a small school. You'll get to meet a lot of new people, so I think that helps as well.
Do any of you students think of yourself as an introvert? Like when you started college, do any of you feel like you're more of an introvert? Any of you?
Yeah, I would definitely say when I started at Ripon, I was much more introverted. But I don't know, Ripon's really a good place to make a lot of friends and become much more social, I would say, in my experience at least. In terms of like struggles I had as a freshman, definitely, being or growing accustomed to living somewhere where at first I didn't know literally anybody. Like I think in my whole senior class, there's one other person from Minnesota. So I knew literally nobody there aside from John, my admissions counselor. But you so quickly get to know everybody, whether it's, you have class with them every day, you live on the same floor as them, or they're even your roommate, or they're in the same club as you. And it's so easy to, make so many friends. And I think now that I'm graduating, like I could probably name at least 3/4 of the students on campus and, tell you at least one fact about them.
Yep.
Great. Another question, John?
Yeah, next question. So we're asking about study abroad programs and how do you qualify for those? Has anyone in this group done I don't believe so, knowing you guys, I don't think anyone's taken advantage of an abroad program. Have any of you done any travel opportunities, like off-campus internships?
I can go. So in the education department, they team up with the Center for Urban Teaching, which is down in Milwaukee, and I believe the Chicago area as well. And I actually went to Houston for 2 days, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. And we toured urban schools, low-income schools. So that was really helpful. I never did like a study abroad, but that is something that I've done through Ripon, and I don't think I would have been able to do anywhere else.
There are options available for students, whether it's a 2-week-long in focus trip to Italy or Jamaica, or the Career Discovery Tour, where it's what it sounds like. There's a whole host of options available for you.
Yeah, and I know that Dr. Khan does her Costa Rica trip, I believe every other year, for basically like environmental science people or people who are just like bio majors. And you don't even have to like have a science major to like go, because you know she just loves when people go. So she likes taking like I think like 15 people to Costa Rica, and I believe it's like for 2 weeks, and they're like in the rainforest, and they're looking at different like animals and plants and all that. So we do have a wide range of different study abroad programs.
I would just add on to that. There's also more long-term study abroad programs as well. Some students that I've known during my time at Ripon have gone to study at St. Andrews in Scotland or in Wales or any number of other European countries. So if you're looking for something a little bit more long-term, there are also those opportunities. I personally never did anything like that, mostly because I liked Ripon so much I didn't want to leave for a whole semester. So hopefully, you know, you feel the same way too.
So, next question. Do you have a favorite place to hang out when you're not on campus? And what are your favorite restaurants in Ripon? Which ones are good, affordable, tasty meals?
I know what they're going to say.
Yeah, I can
I
start it
won't
off.
say it. Go ahead.
Jay's barbecue, definitely the best. If you want good mac and cheese, you know, that brisket that just, you know, kind of melts off the bone, nice and crispy, little crunch to it. Definitely go to Jay's. They even, you can use like your meal point cards to pay for it, which is really cool. It's like really nice feature, and you can get like the Ripon College student special. So I like to say Jay's is probably like the after school hangout spot, especially on the weekends, you know, get some food right quick. So definitely Jay's. I would say my favorite restaurant, and then my favorite breakfast restaurant is Christina's. Every Sunday, me and my friends will break our bank accounts and go to Christina's and have like a cool like breakfast brunch around like 12 or 11.
I remember you
Yeah,
talking about Christina's. Don't they know your order too, Anisha?
Yes, they know my order. The American brisket, of course.
Yeah.
Outside of kind of like restaurants in Ripon, we do have the first ever Marcus Theater. So tickets are $5 there. So that's a nice little place that we all like to go and hang out. Baseball team, I don't know about the rest of our panelists, but yeah.
The really nice thing about the city of Ripon is the downtown district is really close to the college. You can walk to Jay's Barbecue in 2 minutes from your residence hall. And you can walk to Marcus Theater in like 5 minutes. So it's really accessible if you don't have a car on campus.
What about Roadhouse and Mugs? What's the verdict on those places?
Ooh, I love Mugs.
Yep.
If you want a good place to study, Mugs is definitely the place to go. It definitely reminds you of like, you know, just a nice chill coffee spot. Yeah, very relaxing.
Mugs also sometimes has free concerts, which is a nice thing to do on the weekends.
Yep.
And then Roadhouse has really good pizza. So if you want pizza, go to Roadhouse.
True.
Or Canute's. Canute's has some.
Oh yeah, Canute's is good. I love Canute's. I like food, so.
So now we're all hungry.
Missing Ripon.
Yeah. All right. John, what do you got next?
Next, so we know a lot of you are ambassadors for our office, or you know have worked in admission in one capacity or another. What other kind of campus jobs are available, or jobs that you've worked on campus?
I mean, I could start off with that one because I feel like I've worked almost every job imaginable on campus at this point. There's jobs available in literally every area, and most students can even find something that applies directly to what they're studying or their plans after Ripon. So I started out my freshman year literally washing dishes in the dining hall. I've gone on, I was an RA for 2 years. I got to work as one of our sustainability interns for the last year and a half now, which is really a bit more oriented towards my long-term plans. I got to be a lab assistant for biology and chemistry. an ambassador in the admissions office. Some of my good friends that are business majors, for example, who've done either internships over the summer or during the year worked at our college's business office. So there's a lot of ways, A, to just make money while you're on campus, and B, also get some relevant career experience as you look to go on from Ripon.
Great, thank you. Other people that want to answer that for jobs?
Yeah, there's a lot of on-campus jobs that are available, and I especially love that because a lot of people, like Caleb mentioned, don't have cars on campus. I mean, a good majority does, but the people who don't, especially like our international students, like that, they love it, especially just because they have to work on campus, and the fact that there's different opportunities, like to work on campus, like to work in the library. I work down at Wilmore and do laundry for my volleyball team. And then when I'm off season, I do event staff managing. So I think you can get involved in a lot of things on campus, and it really works towards your hours, especially because they know you're a student first. So I think you can only work like 4 hours a week anyway. But it's a nice little coin in your pocket and really good experience and exposure.
Very cool. Our next question for our athletes on the panel, what does your sports schedule look like? Are the professors understanding about you leaving for games? And do you have to miss a lot of school for your sport?
I guess I'll start.
Sorry, I muted. Tyler, go ahead.
So I'd say for baseball, so I mean, as you know, everything takes place in the spring. And our coaches, really, especially at the Division III level, know that you're a student first before, you know, you're playing athletics. So a lot of our like conference games are on the weekends. So we're not conflicting with any classes because they're doubleheaders, 4-game series. In terms of professors, you know, being understanding of you leaving games, it's, you know, they're very understanding about us, my professors especially. Because being in my department in the economics and finance, I pretty much had the same professors all 3, now going to be 4 years on campus. So they're used to me having to leave classes. For games, they allow us to make up work. They'll give us makeup work that we have to do. It's not really that they go out and punish you for pursuing your dreams and playing sports at college.
Anisha, do you want to talk about volleyball?
Sure. Yeah. So volleyball is in the fall, and like Bailey mentioned, we get there 2 weeks early. But typically, it's similar to how it is in high school. You know, the practice is like at the end of the day, so from like 4:30 to 6 or 4:30 to 6:30. It does not usually conflict with any classes. Classes typically end around 4 for the most part. But if you have a lab, like I had a lab last year that went from 2 to 5. And so coach knew that. And so I would just, you know, it would be for one day and it would be on Thursday. She knew I would be like just an hour late than everybody else. And it was no penalty for that because, you know, I need to take the lab. But yeah, they work around your schedule. And like Tyler mentioned, most of our games are on the weekends, usually around Fridays. And professors are very lenient, like they know. And we get a lot of professors that actually come to the different sporting events that we have. And they love showing the Ripon Pride. So trust me, they're all like cool with it.
Awesome. Well, we got 7 questions in the queue, so we'll keep moving through those. Can you guys share a story with us that you feel really symbolizes like what makes Ripon Ripon? You know, I know Caleb was sharing, you know, a professor let him borrow his car when he had a family emergency, you know, so like what other kind of small campus, you know, like, you know, things make Ripon really special to you?
Do it again. Molly, start.
I would say probably the amount of time that you spend with your professor outside of class, especially my professor Rigdon. She's one of my education professors. Anytime I'm up there, I'll always sit and have maybe like a 45-minute hour conversation with her just about life and that kind of stuff. So I think, again, with the professors and just they really want to get to know you and feel who you are. So I think yeah.
Caleb, how about you? Same question.
Well, I already shared the story about the car with my professor, but I think one of the things that makes Ripon so unique is those connections that you get with your professors and with other students. I'm in chamber singers. Every spring break, we go on a week-long tour performing in great venues throughout the state and sometimes out of state. And the chamber singers group has really become like a family for me. Simply because we meet for 4 hours a week practicing, and then we go on that tour. And at the beginning of the year, Professor Hughes has a nice little like welcome thing for us at his house. It's a choir retreat. So a lot of times your professors will have various retreats, whether it's at their house or you all get dinner at the spot or downtown towards the beginning of the semester, just to make everyone feel comfortable with that environment that they're in.
Cool. Something on the next queue there for questions, John?
Yeah. So what does Welcome Week entail? So can you tell us a little bit about your move-in experience, activities you did during your first week of college, things like that?
It was,
Bailey in the corner.
yeah.
Say she's been waiting patiently for another question.
I mean, I really don't have personal experiences for Welcome Week because soccer season kind of overlaps that, but I know there's a lot of different events like staying the lock-in in Wilmore, so kids will do that, or they'll go to Green Lake and swim on the beach there, but that's all I really know about it.
Caleb, did you have more experience with Welcome Week?
No, because when I came, I moved in early because I was part of the Bridge program.
Okay, all right.
I can say something.
Okay, Molly, do you want to
Yeah.
talk?
So I was actually last year on the orientation committee, which kind of runs Welcome Week. So there was a lot of different events that we did. I think one of my favorite ones was we did like minute to win it games. So it was like putting the tissue box around your waist and trying to get all the ping pong balls out of it. So I think that was one of my favorite ones that we did. But then also I think the first years really appreciate us coming and helping them move in. And I know I appreciated that when I moved in, was we'll come in and spend the whole day helping you guys move in, bring stuff up to your room. I think one of my friends carried like 25 fridges on the one day that they moved in. He was always the one that was carrying all the fridges. So I don't know. I enjoyed Welcome Week, and I think a lot of the first years enjoy it too because you get to meet so many people.
Great. I have a quick pause I want to take here. I wanted us a half an hour in, so we're just after 4 o'clock, but I mentioned I had prizes. So I went through the registrations and such, and since we started Ripon College in 1851, I am picking the students who registered the 1st, the 5th, and the 18th person. So the first person, and for you, if you hear your name, if you could either put in the Q&A or in the chat your size, because you are going to get some apparel from Ripon. We will send that out to you. So number 1 belongs to Abby Schiller. So the 1 in 1851 is Abby. And then for the 18, that number, we have Joseph Schneider. And for the 5 in 1851 is Aaron O'Halloran. So Aaron, Abby, and Joseph, if you would like to put in the Q&A or the chat button the sizes that you would like for your Ripon gear, and we'll get that out to you. And now back to the game. John, questions?
Yeah. How has the Catalyst program helped you with your studies?
Who hasn't talked in a while? Who wants to chat?
I can grab that one.
Bailey.
So I just I'm taking 210 right now, which is our intercultural relationships version of Catalyst. I think that's been my favorite part of the whole curriculum so far because it's really a class where you get to learn a bunch of different cultures and how they kind of come together not only in the US but outside of it. So I think that's been my favorite part, is just kind of the cultural awareness that you get from Catalyst.
I can go too. I'm actually in the Catalyst 300 course right now, and I think it's really helped me learn how to work with other people outside of especially like your different disciplines. So I'm like an education major, and I have a couple people in my group. One's like business, one's like psychology and stuff like that. So working with other people who are interested in different things and coming together to make one big project that correlates all with each other, and then the different types of disciplines that we have, I think that helped me a lot.
I could add on to that. I guess as somebody that's finished the whole program and is, going on to work and then graduate school afterwards, I think the best part of it looking back for me was that it does a really good job of over your first 5 semesters building up all of the skills that you're going to need to be successful both for your time at Ripon and beyond that. So, in your first Catalyst course, you might just write a few, 4 or 5 page papers. Your next one, you might do, a 10-minute team presentation. And you keep building up slowly like that until eventually you get to your actual Catalyst seminar and, you're giving a 25-minute presentation, writing a 20-something page paper. And, for me, that was something that I never really thought I'd be able to do coming into Ripon, and slowly over time, it really helped me build up the skills to be able to do that. In terms of going on from Ripon, looking for employment afterwards, one of the things that really struck me at a lot of the different places I applied to when I interviewed with them, some of their questions were literally, tell me sometime that you worked on a big problem that you didn't know the answer to. Tell me a time that you had to work in a diverse team to come up with a solution. And, right off the top of my head, I had all these experiences that I'd already had in Catalyst that I could talk about. And all these places were really impressed by that because, as the goal of the program is, those are really the skills that employers are looking for nowadays. So I think there's a lot of value both during your time at Ripon and afterwards, regardless of what you're planning to do.
Awesome. Next question. Of our different meal plan options, which meal plan do you recommend? Would you recommend, more meals in the commons? Would you recommend more flex dollars? Obviously depending on your schedule, being a student athlete, things like that. So like, which one worked well for you as a student?
I think it really depends on you as a person and like your schedule. I came in and I did the unlimited meal plan my first year. So that was eating more in the commons than anywhere else, like the Spot or getting stuff from Starbucks. And I realized that I'm a really on the go person. So I put more money now into getting food at the Spot or Starbucks or like the grab and go stations. So I guess, again, I think it depends on what your schedule is and kind of like how busy you are.
And definitely with being an athlete, I would probably recommend either that mid one, which is that 450, or that 1,000, because a lot of times you'll end up seeing that your practices could end after the commons closes and you just need to grab the Spot. So yeah, like Molly was saying, it really depends on your schedule and what you're doing.
Okay. Next question. How diverse do you think Ripon is? Can you tell us about those experiences on campus?
For being a small college in small town Wisconsin, I think Ripon does a really good job of being diverse. If I'm remembering the number correct, we're about 22% diverse, which essentially means people of all different ethnic backgrounds and cultural backgrounds. We have a bunch of students that are international students. Some of my best friends are international students. So from being in a small town, we do a really good job of making sure that there's everyone.
Yeah, and to go off of that, I definitely say that Ripon it's constantly getting more diverse each year, like with different majors and just different people in general. A lot of people come from all like everywhere. Like we have people from Chicago, we have people from Texas, we have people from literally everywhere around the country. And I always ask them, like, how did you find little old Ripon if you're all the way from California? And, you know, they tell me their experiences. And so basically Ripon is very getting more diverse each year. We have so many different diversity groups to be a part of. Like I said, I'm a part of Black Student Union, but there's so many other different diversity groups like ASA, which is Asian Student Association. We have La Unida. So just like different diversity groups definitely get a part of in student orgs, and just to really showcase yourself. And I just think it's amazing. I love it. So.
Awesome. Next question. What advice would you give someone who's still undecided about their college choice?
I would say tour as many colleges as you can. Take advantage of that. And then when you get on those campuses and I mean, you look around campus and it wows you and you actually feel like you're a person rather than a number, and the campus also feels like home to you, that's when you know you found the right college for you.
I can say something too. I think if you come to Ripon undecided, I think Ripon gives you a really good opportunity to try new things. So for example, in high school, I never took an art class. And then my first year, I actually took a ceramics course, and now I'm minoring in studio art. So I think with the Catalyst program and then the amount of time that takes up in your schedule, which is really not a lot, you have the time to take all these different classes that you may not have thought that you would have taken.
Yeah. Let's take a look here. So next question is, summer orientation still going to happen? I'm not going to make any of you answer that because none of you have that information. But I will tell any of our attendees, we are going to be sending out information about Summer O within the next week or so. A panel of us got together today to talk out some details. So we'll share that information via email soon. So don't want to announce anything today. And then, so did anyone do the bridge program where you come in 2 weeks earlier than other students? I know Caleb did. So do you just want to tell us about your experience, some of the stuff you learned in the bridge program?
Yeah, so when I participated in the bridge program, it was probably a little different than how it is now. When I did it, we had a class that met 6 days a week. I'm not sure if that's happening now or not, but what it did was it gave you the necessary skills to succeed at Ripon by bringing you in, getting you familiar with the campus. You get to meet some professors, you get to make friends because you're with a whole bunch of other students. And then if they are still offering that class option, then you actually get a college class under your belt. So that way you are able to figure out, okay, this is what I need to do to classes here. And that college class isn't one that's like you get an A, B, C. It's not letter graded, it's pass fail. So you either pass it or you don't, and it doesn't really affect your GPA.
Okay. Next question. So someone's wondering, do you think going into Ripon as an undecided student, or as we like to say in the admission world, multi-interested, puts you behind at Ripon?
Definitely not. I mean, I came in decided, like, I know I want to be a bio major, but a lot of my friends definitely came in undecided just because they were interested in a lot of different things. And I think Ripon does a good job of kind of like fostering, you know, with Catalyst, and then with like other classes that you take, just like kind of picking like what you want. For instance, one of my volleyball friends, she was undecided all the way up until like her sophomore year. And then she finally like decided that she really wanted to do exercise science, and she took a lot of classes like her freshman year, and she just kept taking more. So she realized it's something that I think I want to major in. And so coming in undecided is totally fine. You don't need to know, you know, everything. You don't need to feel like you need to make a decision. We do have a 4-year guarantee once you do declare your major, like by the end of your sophomore year. So you have plenty of time to kind of venture out into different fields of interest and see what really, you know, makes you want to like pursue it as a major. So don't feel the need to rush it.
Typically, I would say maybe even half of our students who come in as freshmen are multi-interested. So that means that you are not alone if you come in and you're not sure. That's the beauty of Ripon and the catalyst, that you can choose what you want to take and take things that interest you right off the bat. Anybody else want to answer or add to that? Adam?
Yeah, I guess I could say a little bit. I mean, when I came into Ripon, I was like vaguely sure that I was interested in science, but beyond that, I had really no clue. So, I mean, I guess I technically was even undecided. Um, but I never felt like it put me behind. My freshman year, in large part thanks to the Catalyst curriculum. I took an intro bio course and I took a Catalyst course, but beyond that, I was in a psychology class, I was in an English class, I was trying all these different areas. And I think that's really the beauty of a liberal arts school like Ripon, is they really encourage you, and especially like your academic advisor, they'll encourage you to branch out even once you've declared a major. I was a senior this year taking a philosophy course. I'm in a psychology seminar right now. So even once you decide, I'm going to be a biology major, I'm going to be whatever major, like, you're not stuck in that one specific area. You can still take literally any course on campus that you think is interesting. And beyond that, in large part because there's so many opportunities for that kind of discovery, we have so many people that are, biology and theater double majors, or studio art and education, whatever it may be. Ripon's really a great place, both in academics and otherwise, to really pursue whatever it is that you're passionate about, and also really find out what it is that you're passionate about at the same time.
Great. John, there was one more question that just came through about student support services. Did anyone here utilize student support services in your time at Ripon? Could you tell a bit about that? And anybody who may have had a disability, whether that be attention deficit or other issues, I guess, with learning. Anybody want to expand on that? Caleb, you raised your hand, I believe. Do you want to just maybe share a little bit?
So I'm a student support services student, not because I have a learning disability or a physical disability, but because my parents are first generation, or I'm a first generation student, which means neither of my parents went to a four-year college, and I'm also a student of low income. So the Student Support Services Office works with you and your professors to get you necessary accommodations. Whether it's, if you do have a disability, it might mean that you have testing accommodations. So instead of like having just the 50 minutes that you have for your class hour to take an exam, it gets brought over to the Student Support Services Office and you have an unlimited amount of time. It might mean one-on-one, like specific tutoring or whatever. They will make sure that you have the accommodations that you need. And then if you don't have a disability, the Student Support Services Office still works really closely with you to make sure that you have the support system to ensure your success at Ripon. And they host different activities. Last year I saw Hamilton with them. So it might be just going out and hanging out. But there's different things that they do.
Great.
Like free printing.
Thank you. I want to watch our time, and I know that John may need to take off in a second. So if you haven't already, we will have trivia happening at 4:30. It's a different Zoom link that you would have received. If you have not registered yet, you can go to the Red Hawks Days website and see that and see the link, and you can join just automatically. So that's again at 4:30. I would like to thank our panelists for sharing today. I hope that the attendees learned some things and maybe got a chance to hear things that will help them to, adapt to Ripon's environment or choose Ripon if you haven't already decided to enroll in Ripon. We will hold more of these I would appreciate any feedback you have. If there's anything that you would like to share, you have my email. The emails came for this registration from me, so feel free to let me know if I can do anything different for future panels. There's one more question and answer coming up. A thank you, so thank you. But I'm gonna close this down now so that we have time to transition to the trivia. Again, thanks Zach Massetti, we appreciate your time today and hanging